Hey there, my name is Chris Acton with Acton Creative, and this is a Handwoven Experience. In today's episode, it's a special one. We are doing name drafting with Christy Loftin. Yes! Now, name drafting is something that I had heard of, but wasn't really familiar with, hadn't played with myself. So I thought it would be wise to bring in our resident expert. You see, Christy is part of our online Weavers Guild, and she has been really tinkering around with name drafting. So I thought she'd be the perfect person to come on and explain what is name drafting, what might you use it for, how can it be pertinent to you and what you want to create, what are some of the quirks when it comes to creating a name draft. And ultimately, she did something really, really special for our Acton creative community. I'll leave it a surprise. You'll find out in just a moment. But it was a fabulous interview with my friend Christy, and I just know that you'll get so much out of it, just like I did. So without further ado, please enjoy this interview with Christy Loftin, all about name drafting. Hello, hello, welcome. We're so happy to have Christy Loftin here today. She is going to walk us through the wonderful world of name drafting. So without further ado, we're going to start right at the top. Christy, why don't you give us kind of just the brief overview of what is name drafting for someone who knows nothing about it, which was me not that long ago.
Sure. So name drafting is actually a form built within Overshot. So think
Nice.
Overshot motifs, seeing pictures kind of coming to life on fabric. Name drafting actually started in ancient times, so it's been around for a very long time, to give symbolic meaning to threads that were created in primarily wall hangings and some clothing into ancient royalty. So having your own weavers and that specialty weaving, they would then use maybe family names, parts of the country, things that were symbolic to the royal family were then woven in, oftentimes using gold threads, into the fabrics that were created. So moving forward, there was a big surgence in the 18th and 19th centuries of, again, with coverlets. So we see that there's a lot of books and you hear about coverlets that were developed by families where the weavers would then, with family names, very much associated with the family Bible, if you will, because those coverlets were treasured as well, but names of the family that were then woven into the fabric. So it became using the term name drafting. Now, the funny thing with it is you really don't see words when you see it. So threads, this is a unique way of assigning threads on the shaft of your loom, generally a 4-shaft loom. You can do it on 8, but it's much more common to do it just on a 4-shaft loom.
Nice.
How to assign those threads based on the alphabet to develop your names or phrases or dates. So
I love that.
Mary Meg's Atwater really brought it back to life in the 20s, and it's really kind of held on in weaving. Current modern times, a lot of weavers are now associating it to different block weaves. So it's not just based on individual alphabet letters, but looking at summer and winter and crackle and some of the lace structures.
So the idea being you can use that technique and apply it different places. Is that what you mean?
Correct. Again, you're assigning a shaft to something specific to create a unique motif, picture, structure, design that is specific to what your intent is, I guess.
Okay. So for example, if I wanted to do one that was a celebration of my love of gardening, I could say I love gardening, and I could take each of those letters and then assign it to a shaft, correct?
Yes.
That's kind of the gist of it. Yeah. I think that's so cool, that significance, the family significance, or an organization or whatever that is. I think that's such a cool way to incorporate it into the fabric. And I love your point about you're not going to spell the letter B. It's not like that. Right. It's more subtle than that, correct?
Very much so. And the unique design. So coming from overshot, and there's hundreds, we've all seen, or most of us have seen hundreds of different motifs and with overshot. But when you are assigning based on, let's say, a name, Chris Acton, the design that comes from that is going to be unique to you. You're not going to find that exact motif probably anywhere else. The odds are extreme
Pretty slim
to get the exact motif. So it just adds a layer, that uniqueness, something that's symbolic, something that's very personal.
I love that. Wonderful, wonderful. So can you give a few examples of how people might use this, though, kind of in current day? I mean, you talked about walkings, that kind of thing. What are some ways that, some ideas for, like, right now, how and why would you want to use that?
Sure. So a variety of things. I think I'm going to use my personal experience.
Yeah.
I make towels. So anybody in the group or as you get to know me, I am the towel lady. So what I have done is that I work with people. I started with my family. I'm now doing it for other people as well, using their name. I'll use my birthday club, for example, the women in the birthday club. I have their first, middle, maiden, and married names. So I use those letters and I create a small motif based on their name. And I make dish towels and use that as a border on their dish towels. So it's primarily a plain woven towel, but on each end on the border will have that person's name, their motif built into an overshot pattern based on their name with name drafting. So I use it in my towel, so a dish towel, for crying out loud. But you can go back and using the coverlets, making a large bedspread. There's a lot of people, making baby blankets. What an opportunity to put both your name in with the baby's name, possibly, or the parent's name, and building in a motif. It doesn't have to go selvage to selvage. That you would need five and six shafts to get vertical. Well, I don't want to get too technical. You can get vertical plain weave, but you could build just an individual motif to put somewhere in the center or down on the bottom of a picture of a scarf, of having it on one side, on a Rwana. You can have something significant, baby blankets. Really, any textile that you are building, you can build this into it.
How special, though. I think that's just so cool. And because it's subtle, I think that actually makes it more practical, that you can put it into something you're wearing, a household good, whatever that is, and the significance, but you don't have to share that. It's not as obvious. It's just kind of this nice nod, something really unique to you, friends, family, organizations, whatever that is. So I love it. So Christy, let's talk a little bit about some of the kind of rules to creating name drafting drafts. So one of the key foundational pieces is the idea of this alphabet, of taking letters and assigning them. So can you talk about maybe kind of the two big approaches to how you can, how do you take the alphabet and translate it to the threading of your project?
Sure. So there are a variety of ways that you can do this. So that's very personal to you of how you would like to set it up. I stay very basic with things and use the basic alphabet, A through Z.
Yeah.
Alphabet 1 for me is assigning the shafts vertically. So shaft 1 is A, shaft 2 is B, shaft 3 is C, shaft D is 4. Then I go back up to shaft 1 for E. So A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. So I assigned the 4 shafts that way.
Okay, great.
The other way, so that's vertical. The other is horizontal. I go A through G. No significance really to G. It just what works for me. So shaft 1 is then A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
So any of those letters are on shaft 1?
Any of those letters.
Okay.
Shaft 2 is then H through whatever falls through.
Whatever. Yeah.
Look, I know behind me. So,
Yes.
but I assign them horizontally. Then
Okay.
with numbers, you can just attach that at the end of your alphabet. So when you get to Z, make that decision if you want to start with 0 or start with 1 and just continue whatever your format is.
Yeah.
That way you can incorporate birth dates, anniversary dates, another date that's significant. So adding numbers in with the alphabet, just add on to it. But those are the two versions that I use. I do
Perfect.
vertical
Yeah.
on shafts 1 through 4 or horizontal, still shafts 1 through 4.
Yeah.
Then
I
as I
love
have
it.
my name or phrase, then you're just plugging in what shafts.
Yeah, yeah, perfect. And that's I think that's it's good to understand that that's kind of the basis of it, but there is a little quirk that goes with this then, correct? Why don't you tell us about kind of you can't just go by assigning each letter to a shaft. There's a few things, a few strategies to go with. So walk us through that.
Sure. The quirk is called an incidental, and that is foundational to overshot. So you do have to follow the rules of overshot, of which there are not many, but they are significant,
Yeah,
if you will.
important. Few but
So,
important. Okay, okay, good.
so the basis of overshot works on a 2-2 twill design. So you're using shafts 1 and 2, 2 and 3, 3 and 4, 1 and 4.
Nice.
And those are then considered your units as well. And everybody needs to stay next to each other, shoulder to shoulder on the twill circle, if you will.
Okay.
So with the incidentals, if you have, for example, a letter, two letters, let's go horizontal. I have an A and a C,
Mm-hmm.
and those are both on shaft 1, so they
Mm-hmm.
come right next to each other. You're
Mm-hmm.
not going to be able to weave that with your plain weave ground staying intact.
Okay.
You always have to be moving one up or one down, staying next to each other.
Mm-hmm.
So if both of those are on shaft 1, I need to put in a sign and an incidental between 1 and 1 that would
In
either
between
be
them.
2 or it would be 4. And you
Okay.
can choose which
Yeah.
one that you
Okay.
want to. But
Okay.
you do have to put in the next door neighbor, if you will,
Nice.
with
Nice.
those. The same goes, you can't jump from shaft 1 to shaft
Mm,
3. They
got
have
it.
to stay next to each other. So
Okay.
you'll have to put an incidental in. So there's
Gotcha.
a lot of information when you start reading on overshot that
Yeah.
explains it very, very well. But again,
Yeah.
it is one of the major rules of overshot that come into play here as well. If you have
Yeah.
shafts or threads that are crossing the shafts or are on the same shaft, you have to put in
Gotcha.
the incidental, the glitch.
So,
Yeah.
so the idea is that as you take each of your letters and you assign it to a shaft for the threading, you're constantly kind of evaluating it to see, okay, first of all, everyone has to move, but they have to move just to a neighbor. So if it doesn't do that automatically, then you have to insert something so that it does do that kind of motion. Is that okay?
Yes, and
Yeah.
absolutely. And another way of thinking of it is that you have to go odd, even, odd, even, odd, even,
Oh,
because that
perfect.
maintains your plain weave ground. Again,
Yeah.
overshot, you have that plain weave underneath it.
Yeah.
So every time you throw a pick, it has to be an odd or an even. So that helps you remember as well.
That's,
But it's like, oh, I'm reading my pattern and I'm staying odd, odd. The
yeah.
pattern, something's not right in the
Thumbs up,
pattern
right. Yeah.
necessarily because you're having to go odd, even to maintain
Yeah.
that plain weave ground.
I love it. But this also, I think, speaks to the fact that you have some creative license because you, as the author of this name draft, whatever you're using for inspiration, then there's not one way to do it. You can interpret it so many different directions, which I think is lovely. Now, with any kind of weaving, we've talked about how we're organizing the warp yarns. Let's talk for a second about the treadling. How do you know how to treadle this? So can you kind of give us some ideas on how that works?
Absolutely. So the treadling will be based on the units of your threading. You then have a couple of different options. So most common you'll hear in overshot, there is something that is treadled rose fashion or star fashion. Star
Love it.
fashion is more common. Star fashion gives you a blockier design.
Geometric?
Yeah, kind of geometric. Thank you.
Yeah.
And there's a
Okay.
definite X. You're going to see a diagonal in your motif, in your picture. That on rose fashion is really just reversing, if you will, your treadling order. It's not really reversing, but kind of a mirrored flip over, if you
Okay.
will, on the
Sure.
treadling. And what that does
Love
is
it.
that gives you a rounder, a little softer motif. That's where you're going to see more flowery kind of designs, if you will, or the wagon wheels that you
Oh,
often
yeah.
hear about in overshot. So
Yeah.
star fashion, think of the points of a star. It's more geometric, like you said, blockier. You get the
Yeah.
diagonal X. Rose fashion is the softer, rounder, more flowery designs.
That's perfect. Well, and that just adds to the whole how much you can customize this, because not only do you have all these options when you're deciding the threading, you also then can there's not just one way to treadle it as well. So Christy, why don't we look at a few examples if we can? If you've got I know we pulled together beforehand, we talked about kind of showing some options. We talked about the incidentals. That's one of the key places you can choose your own flair for what it comes together. So if you've got some samples we can see, we'd love that.
Absolutely. So let's start with alphabet A, that I call it.
Yes,
So
right?
this is going to be when we talked about top row or bottom row incidentals.
Mhm.
So
Love
this
it.
is an example that I used only top row incidental. So when we had those glitches, I chose just what of how I assign them the upper number, either a 3 or a 4 for the incidental.
Love it.
So this is
So
a
pretty.
top row, and
Okay.
then this is the bottom row. So they're quite
Wow.
similar, but they are a little different.
I love it.
These,
I love it.
these were treadled star fashion.
Mm.
So the geometric, so the pointy, blockier, and you can see the definite X in
Yeah,
both
you can
of
totally
those.
see it. Yeah, you can totally
Right?
see it.
So we have top row, bottom row, but star fashion. So now we're going to look at those same exact top row, bottom row, very different on these. This is rose fashion. So we
Oh,
don't have, we
very
still
different.
have some geometry there, the geometrics, if
Yeah.
you will, but it's
Yeah,
rounder
totally is.
motifs, and you don't have the X. So this
Yeah.
is using the same exact vertical alphabet for this
Yeah.
example. And we have 4 very, very different designs based on
Amazing.
that incidental choice and the rose fashion or the star fashion.
Yeah.
Now with that,
Cool.
when I do the incidentals and I
Yeah.
say top row, I only choose top row or
Mm.
I only choose bottom row. You have the choice to randomly choose up
Wow.
or down, which then would give you 2 more examples, star fashion or rose fashion, would give
Yeah.
you even more choices
Amazing. I love
off
that.
of
Now,
one alphabet.
yeah,
Yeah,
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Oh, the same
going to
alphabet.
be off of one alphabet.
One
So
alphabet. Yes. Oh, see, talk about a rabbit hole. You can just like spiral and keep going, making fun things for sure. Now, what has been so special is that Christy has developed something really unique to our acting creative community. Can you tell us about that?
sure. So the examples that I just showed you, and there's several others based on the other alphabet and the incidentals, if you will,
Yeah.
but I based this name draft for Chris off of our group of based off of Carol's tartan that she had done and registered in Scotland with the named Warped Weavers Acton Creative Community. So
So
that was
cool.
the phrase that I used. Those
So
were
cool.
the letters that I assigned to the alphabet, those examples that I used. Then I made a bunch of samples and shipped them all off to Chris and
She
said
did.
that.
She did. I have them all sitting right here. They're so beautiful.
So I suggested to her on having a theme with her group.
Mhm.
And as Carol had done with the tartan,
Yeah.
and we had that named, to maybe associate a specific name draft to the group. So I left it up to Chris to make the choice of what
Pick.
she wanted.
Love
And
it.
and we chose alphabet 2 top row incidentals woven star fashion. So that is the official design of the
Yes.
Acton Creative Warped Weavers is of alphabet 2 that would have been horizontal, a horizontal alphabet woven star fashion and using top row incidentals.
Nice. Do you have the sample right there? Can we share it?
I do.
I think I've got, I was going to say, I think, oh, perfect. Right there. Lovely. Isn't that fun? That's
Is
so
the
pretty.
sample.
That's the one. So what I think is so cool then is that as part of the Acton Creative community now, we have our very own tartan specific to us. Plus now we have a fabulous name draft for just the community, which is amazing. Now, for friends that are watching this, we are going to share that draft that's going to be available to you. Thanks to Christy, because she put in all the hard work and had so much fun creating that really unique draft just to us. I think it's so special to have something that is, you know, so unique. And of course, with all your time and care put into it, we really love that. So this has been really, really wonderful. Thank you so much for, first of all the work you put into this. I love that you did all the research and could tell us all about where it came from and ways to use it, and just all of the experimenting that you did is really amazing. So I just want to thank you very much for providing us our beautiful, our very own name draft for the Acton Creative community, and for making us all a little more knowledgeable about what it's like to create your own name draft and how valuable and fun it can be for weavers everywhere. So
Well,
thank you,
thank
my
you. I hope
friends.
it sparks an interest for somebody that because it can be very personal. It's a
Yeah.
lot, it can be a lot, and it's a lot of fun. It sounds very, very technical, and there
Yeah.
are technicalities, but it sounds much more involved than it really
And it
truly
actually is.
than it truly is. Yeah.
I love that. I love that. Thank you so much, my friend. I appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Isn't she amazing? She's so, so knowledgeable and generous with her time and energy. And she created a whole draft just for the Acton Creative community, our Warped Weavers Acton Creative community. So, so, so cool. Now, because of her generosity, we have an entire draft that you can access for free of the Warped Weavers Acton Creative community name draft, customized just for her. Is so special. So in the description below, just click on the link and you can access that specific draft and use it however you'd like, friends. That is our gift to you as part of the Acton Creative community. I love that now we have our very own specific tartan and we have a name draft overshot pattern. It's remarkable. If you would like to learn more about name drafting, Christy just did an amazing presentation for us over at the Online Weavers Guild, assembled all kinds of incredible resources and really got into much more detail. So if this has just piqued your interest and you're like, ooh, that is for me, I want to do more of that, friends, you're invited to come over and join us in the Online Weavers Guild, and you can access the entire recording of her program that she did, plus an entire list of resources where you can really dive in with both feet and have so much fun with name drafting. So lastly, I just want to give another very special thank you to Christy Loftin, who is a complete weaving rock star, and we're so grateful and honored that she shared her time, energy with us. What a good episode. All right, friends, let me know in the comments. Have you tried some name drafting? Let me know. How's it gone? Did you have a good time with it? Did you just end up drafting to your heart's content, doing all these different variations? Because you can really go down the rabbit hole, that's for sure. So much fun, but it's a fun place to be. All right, have a fabulous week. Dream of name drafting. Happy weaving.